Hello, my Grotten Gits. Welcome back to Happy Corrupting Wargaming. Today is a video I am thrilled to produce. If you are a Blood Angel lover, or a Blood Angel hater, or you're just terrified that the Blood Angels are going to be super strong in the new edition, well, I've got some really interesting news for you, and I'm going to break it all down today. So this video is for you. So make sure you smash the like, subscribe, and share with all your friends, because I'm going to give you the truth about the Blood Angel Codex and how it's going to absolutely be functioning. Okay, so let's get right into this video today. What am I going to be going through? I'm going to be going through actual unit data sheets. I'm going to be laying the core down of how this entire codex is actually going to be operating. Okay, so you're going to definitely need to pay attention to that. I am not going to go through every single detachment in this video. Actually, every single detachment is going to get their own dedicated video so that we can learn how to play as them, play against them, and how to build armies specifically for each of the 3 detachments that are in the new Blood Angels Codex. So today I'm going to lay all the foundations. So if you're a Blood Angel lover, a Blood Angel hater, or you're just freaking terrified of the new meta, make sure you watch this video because there is going to be some serious stuff in it. All right. So first off, this is a solid codex. All right. We have to ask the question, how did the codex fare? I will tell you right now, most of all the other people that I see talking about this online are just completely incorrect about how this codex is going to fare. I think they're trying to pump it up. I don't know. Maybe they're coming by it honestly, but if you have heard from everybody and their mother that the new Blood Angels Codex is cracked and is going to be a total menace, they're not correct. They are incorrect. They might be saying that just for other reasons. I do not understand it. They might just be honestly mistaken, as I know some of the people who I have a lot of respect are. I just firmly believe they're mistaken. This is a solid codex, though. This is not a video where you're going to hear me moaning and whining about, oh no, my codex is not cracked. No, this is a good codex, and there is some good stuff in here. But we have to understand that this is not a cracked codex, which is going to shatter the freaking meta. There are good play styles for Blood Angels players to be able to bring some new stuff that is going to cause problems for people, but there is nothing that is going to be absolutely earth-shaking unless points get out of control when it gets released. Because, I mean, GW can always just do stupid thing with points. GW could theoretically say Sanguinary Guard costs 20 points each, which would be stupid. That's not what the codex says, so don't worry about that. I don't think that we're in any danger of that. So effectively, out of the 3 detachments, we've got 1 fine detachment, 1 bad detachment, and 1 good detachment. Every single detachment will have some interesting things in it, and every single detachment will give you some great ways to play Warhammer. So this is a good codex for you. All right, let's break it down for the overall themes. What happened overall in the codex? First off, the enhancements as a whole got way better. Now, this is actually pretty cool because the old Sons of Sanguinius had, I won't say trash, but kind of impactful, not lacking impact enhancements, I would say. They were lacking impact. Anyway, now the enhancements are actually really good. This does actually cause a bit of an issue because Blood Angels, similar to Dark Angels, have a amazing suite of unique characters. Only I would say Blood Angels' unique characters are better. So I would say Blood Angels probably have the best suite of unique characters. We'll see what Space Wolves have to say about that when their codex comes out. But Blood Angels, as of right now, has the best suite of unique characters. And you're going to be running them. So I'm not so certain how important it is to have better enhancements, because you're probably not running a lot of generic characters. Although, you know, there are some builds I already have going through my head, and trust me, I'm going to be going in depth about those that could run generic characters. Anyway, characters on a whole, generically, they generally got better. So your characters typically got better in the codex, which is kind of cool because their characters were already good, and they got a little bit better, which is nice. Our stratagems from the Sons of Sanguinius detachment that we had in the index, they are completely side graded or worse. Basically, none of it is better. There is one exception to that, and we'll talk about that. But basically, the stratagems were all side graded or made worse from the index, and this is where a big amount of the power drop is actually going to come from, but not all the power drop. Now, I said that characters generally got better, but there is another part of the codex that definitely got worse. So most, not all, but most of the unique units to Blood Angels that are not characters, mind you, were either side graded or made significantly worse. So actually, we lost a lot of power in some of our generic units. There is an exception to that, and I promise you I'm going to get to that. Just like there's an exception to most of our characters getting better, there's an exception to that as well. And I'm going to run through all of those in this video. So let's talk about the 3 detachments generally. You've got Liberation Assault Force. This is the old Sons of Sanguinius from the index. It's the same rule, so +2 strength, +1 attack. It has significantly better enhancements, some that are actually really cool. Much worse strats, though. So for an example, the old Red Rampage, which would give us +1, give us Lance and Lethal. It is now Lance or Lethal, or if you want both, then you have to automatically get Battle Shocked. It's just straight up a downgrade of what the strat used to be. Everything still has armor of contempt. And we definitely lost a bunch of things. So like we lost our 6-inch consolidation stratagem, for example, which really is very frustrating. I will say that this particular detachment, and every detachment actually, this is pretty cool, now does in fact have the ability to give you advance in charge. So every single person will get you advance in charge, and that is actually pretty awesome. So I will say that advance in charge is certainly an upgrade, but all the other strats are just straight up downgrades. So Liberation Assault Force, every strat that is not the advance in charge is just straight up worse than it used to be. There are 2 of the strats, which we'll go into a lot of detail in a future video, that are, there's just no way I'm ever going to use them. Anyway, let's talk about the Lost Brethren. Oh, sorry, I skipped a step. So Liberation Assault Force, overall, it's like a solid B. It's a reasonable detachment, and you're going to be able to get good play out of it, but it is significantly weaker than the old Sons of Sanguinius detachment. All right, Lost Brethren. This detachment is trash. It's absolute garbage, and it's got a garbage detachment rule, and it only applies to Death Company. All right, so listen to how limited this detachment rule is, and it only applies to Death Company. Reroll wound rolls of 1 if you're under starting strength. Not if the unit you're attacking is under starting strength, if you are under starting strength. And then also full wound rerolls if you're under half starting strength for all Death Company units. So it does nothing for anyone who's not Death Company. And then your Death Company units will have to be almost dead before they get to benefit really anything from it. So pretty garbage detachment rule. However, it does have some pretty strong enhancements, which are cool. And it's got some interesting stratagems. They're all tend to be wrapped up in the fact that it gets better if you have a chaplain nearby. So it's flavorful, it's cool. It would allow for some interesting builds. So for example, like Astaroth, who's one of the more underwhelming characters in my opinion, does get very fascinating in this detachment, but it's a pretty awful detachment. And once again, I'll go through it in another video in depth, but it does have some cool ways to build it out. At least, well, I'll give it that. But it's pretty garbage. It's a D. Then we have the Angelic Host. Now, this is my favorite detachment from the book, and I think it is actually a dang solid detachment. I need to test play it some. I haven't had the opportunity to really test play it, but I'm certainly going to once we get the points out for the updated points, not the points of the book, because the points of the book useless. So once we get the updated points, then I will absolutely be test playing this. And this seems like a very actual solid contender to cause problems in the meta in the meta based off of its points. So I love it. It has uppy downy for only 2 units, but instantaneously, what is that really good for? Inceptors. So we can have Inceptors constantly reprocking their 3-inch deep strike. So there's a lot of interesting things that we're going to be able to do with this detachment. They also have a really good stratagem that if one of your units gets destroyed for 1 CP, all Sanguinary Guard units in your army now get full rerolls to hit and wound those units. So it's going to be allowing for some really good bait and traps, which will allow your army to actually function very independently of Oath of the Moment, which, in my opinion, if you can function independently of Oath of the Moment, then you can use Oath of the Moment on nice places, not critical places, which is a game changer. So I do think Angelic Host is going to be awesome, and we'll go over that in detail in the video itself. Now let's talk about the characters, because we're going to go through some of these units. There are some issues and there's some excitement here. So Mephiston is a total 100% undiluted Chad. This guy is a total freaking rock star, and he is going to be in every single list, assuming he's not something like 180 points. He's got Loan Up now. He can't attach to a unit anymore. Totally fine. But he actually slaps in melee. He gets Fight First, which is really cool. His psychic ability has the pistol keyword, and then he also has a pistol, so he can basically always shoot both, which is really dang nice. He gets Advance in Charge natively. He also has a 4-up Feel No Pain on top of a 2-up Armor Save. So this guy actually totally rocks, and he's going to be super useful for tons and tons of play. I'm really excited to put him on the table because I just never could figure out how to run him previously. I tried it with the Blade Guard veterans and stuff. It just, yeah. So I don't, or I'm sorry, he couldn't run with Blade Guard veterans. Not that, forgive my slip of speech there. But anyway, so Mephiston now is a total rock star, and I absolutely love him. Codex has him at like 125 points, which if he's 125 points, you're taking him. I don't think that's like crazy cheap. I think that's like a pretty reasonably good value for him. I know I was listening to the Art of War guys, and they're saying, "Oh, that's too cheap for him." I was like, no, it's not. I think they're mistaken, and they're just a little hot off the press, excited for the Codex, which I can understand and respect. But I completely disagree with them when they said that 125 would be cheap for him. I think that's like just a reasonable price. Then we have Dante. Dante got a slight improvement, which is really, really good because Dante was already freaking awesome. Now he also gives, he starts at base like strength 8 instead of base strength 7, which is good because now That's just good. And then he also gives you +1 to the advance roll, as well as the charge roll. So he gives you a lot of bonus movement, especially when you get to stack that on the ability to advance a charge using stratagems in every single one of the 3 detachments. That is actually very, very nice. So Dante becomes really good. His aura of get battle shocked is still amazing. It's at the start of every fight phase. Every enemy unit within 6 inches, not engagement range, has to take a battle shock at -1. This really screws with your opponent's game plans. And I'll definitely show you how to be using that. So don't worry about that. We have the Sanguiner. He's the same. He's still awesome. We love him. Lamartes, he's the same rules. He still gives his unit -1 damage and lethal hits. So he's still awesome. We like him a lot. The problem with Lamartes is that his bodyguard's value has probably dropped precipitously, and we're going to talk about that in this video. Then we have Astroth, slightly improved, so now he's going to be able to grant like death wounds to the unit every time it charges, not just once per game, which can be cute, and especially when you wrap him up in the Lost Brethren or the Death Company detachment, there's some interesting plays you could do with him, which I think it's cute. Doesn't make that detachment any better. It's just there's some there at least you could do it and it can be fun at least. All right. Then we've got some unique characters. We have a Blood Angels captain, and he's a captain, but he has an Inferno pistol. That's literally it. So if you want to run a 6 captain army, you can, and I'm going to show you how to build that army probably tomorrow when I release my video on Liberator Assault Force. It's going to be disgusting. Anyway, then we have a Death Company captain with jump pack. So he's going to give sustain hits 1 to DC Marines. This is okay. Depends on the point cost of our Death Company Marines, but as you'll see on the next slide, they definitely took a huge hit. And then we have the Sanguinary Priest. So he no longer has a jump pack, which means he cannot attach to anyone useful at all. He's got the same ability, gives a 5 field of pain and +1 AP, but the only units he can attach to would be like a Devastator squad or a Desolation Marine squad or just Tactical Marines. It's like, that's not useful. It's not useful at all. You want to put him on melee units. The only unit that you could potentially theoretically put him on that would matter would be with Assault Intercessors, but your Assault Intercessors aren't there to stick around, so it's just going to be a huge points cost. That's not going to be that helpful, so I hate it. Pour one out for my homie, because the Sang Priest was my great love of the Index detachment. I would run him with my Vanguard Veterans, or I would run him with my Jump Assault Intercessors, and he was amazing. Now he is probably just not going to be used. That's sad. I really wish they would have given us the ability to run him with Blade Guard Veterans. That would have made him actually sick and give us a really interesting, unique unit, but alas. Then we can look at Death Company. So the Death Company are the great tragedy of this codex. And so when everyone's saying that this codex is going to be coldly cranked and amazing, well, one thing that they're not considering is Death Company are much worse, like much worse. That doesn't mean they're useless, by the way. So stick with me here, but they are much worse. So Death Company, your Death Company Marines on foot. They used to get full rerolls to hit just at all times. Now it's only in melee, which actually is kind of a big deal. But they can't take 10 Power Fists and 10 Inferno Pistols anymore. So now, at best, if you're taking a 10-man squad, you can get 2 Plasma Pistols, 2 Eviscerators, which is basically a Power Fist, 4 Power Fist, and 1 Inferno Pistol. That's the top of the damage output from that unit from a 10-man. Take that from, you would have a 10-man with 10 Power Fists and 10 Inferno Pistols, rerolling all hit rolls in shooting and melee, and now you're doing it with 2 Plasma Pistols, 2 Eviscerators, 4 Power Fist, 1 Inferno Pistol, only rerolling in melee. It's a huge decrease in the power. Now, if we get a dramatic decrease in the points, maybe it's okay, but I'd be willing to bet that we're not going to get that massive decrease in points. So with a 5-man, you're going to have 1 Plasma Pistol, 1 Eviscerator, 3 Power Fist, 1 Inferno Pistol. So a 5-man's might still be a little bit useful, but not for the points cost that they're going to come out at, because they're probably going to try to have them pointed as the way they used to be. And man, it's just way worse. Once again, stay with me. I'm not moaning about this, because I think they're going to be good enough, and we have plenty of play in this codex, but the Death Company are not the same at all. They got a lot worse. Then the Death Company Dreadnought. This thing actually sucks, which really hurts me, because if you guys know me, I loved the Death Company Dreadnought. I took him to the WTC. He did amazing things for myself and my team. The Death Company Dreadnought with the Infinite Fight Hack, stacked with the 6-inch Consolidation, was actually an amazing unit that I think most people just completely didn't pay any attention to. And when they did, they just didn't think about how useful he was. So he was amazing. He's incredible. Now the new Death Company Dreadnought sucks. He's on a Brutalis frame. He is marginally tougher. He went up to like 12 wounds instead of the 8 wounds, but his melee hitting power probably took a 75% hit. So he lost attacks. He lost his access to the AP3 weapon, so it's now only AP2. He lost strength. He lost the ability to fight constantly, he did gain a Blood Surge move, but the Blood Surge isn't even as good as the Blood Surge moves are. So, because the Blood Surge is only once per phase, you can't just do it consistently, which means that he basically just sucks. And for 220 points, according to the book cost, holy crap, is this guy a piece of garbage. Then lastly, we have the Death Company with bolt rifles. It's effectively just an intercessor unit with bolt guns that re-rolls hits in melee. Let me repeat that. So it is an intercessor unit with bolt guns that re-rolls hits in melee only. It does get the ability to free Overwatch or Heroic Intervention, though, but that is useless, and it's a completely pointless unit. So, yeah, that sucks. Like, I have no idea. Why would you ever take that over a normal intercessor unit that at least gets you sticky? That's such a ridiculously awful unit. Not to mention, it's still Death Company, so it's still OC 0 unless you're within 12 at Chaplain. So, anyway, it's close. Then we do have two better units. So we've got the Ball Predator. That's the tank. It's effectively the same, although now it lost its ability to get advance or get assault when it advances if it's shooting specifically against infantry, and it just gave them assault on the flamers or the heavy bolters or whatever you're going to take on it, which is just generically better. So the Ball Predator is still awesome. We love it. If it stays at the 125, it's still very useful. If it goes up much, And then lastly, we have the Sanguinary Guard. Now, you guys have probably seen this going around the internet, and let me explain. Yes, the Sanguinary Guard are definitely better, and they're definitely more useful. They absolutely rock. However, if they come out at Codex points, which is 50 points per model, they suck. Now, I'm not saying they suck because I think they'll come out at a lower points cost than that. But effectively, they're fast. They have a 2-up armor save, 4-up invuln with 3 wounds, and they've got that glorious AP 3 in melee. They do hit on 3's base, which means you're only going to have 1 hitting on 2s if you take them with Dante. They are -1 hit in melee only. Now, if they were like -1 to hit just at all times, maybe I can start talking about that getting closer to that 50-point unit. And then if they're led by a character, they do get the -1 to wound, which does mean that they're a useful unit and they are pretty darn exciting. So overall grade for the Blood Angels Codex is going to be a solid B. This Codex has a lot to offer. It is going to be fairly flexible, and it's not coming out hot off the press, which means that I don't think we need to expect any big nerf bats incoming. I completely disagree with a lot of the other YouTubers out there, even though I have a lot of respect for like the guys at Art of War and stuff. They're amazing players. They're great people. I really enjoy them. I think I just have a very fundamental disagreement with them on the strength of this Codex, and that's just the way it's going to be. Until next time, I'll catch up with you. Bye. Happy Crumbin'.